guys, it's Lotus and welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to continue on with our read-along of Guardian. But just because I forgot to mention it in the previous Guardian read-along, I just want to let you guys know that my updates will be a little less frequent / more sporadic because of real-life responsibilities. I'll be a bit busier, so I won't be able to upload as often. But I hope you still enjoy the read-along nonetheless. So yeah, let's jump right into the next chapter. We're up to chapter 33. What? Zhao Yunlan startles. He's a light sleeper, and this kind of prompt would normally wake him up even if he was dead drunk. His brain feels like it's wrapped in flour, and his eyelids are heavy. Wang Zheng? He pinches the bridge of his nose and blinks sticky eyes, struggling to sit up. He says, only half conscious, I slept for less than an hour. She was still here just now. Zhu Hong scrutinizes him somberly. She had known Zhao Yunlan for many years. Even if he's tired, he'll only sleep lightly. They're in the wilderness now, and beneath them is a heap of skulls. And yet, he still fell into deep sleep. That has never happened before. Being unconventional is different from not paying attention. Zhu Hong leans down and sniffs. What? Don't move. Zhu Hong pulls off the blanket, picks up a corner, and carefully peels away the fibers along the edge, using her long nails to pick up some brown powder from the inside. She sniffs it and understands at once. You were drugged. The dizziness fades, but the sounds come to Zhao Yunlan as if he's underwater. When he finally makes out what Zhu Hong is saying, he realizes he, the trickster, has been tricked by one of his own, and a million words condensed down into just two. Oh, F! With everything happening so fast, Zhao Yunlan isn't sure what upsets him more, that Wang Zheng drugged him or that the person who gave him the blanket wasn't Shen Wei. Get me some mineral water, he says quietly. I like it cold. It's not like we have hot water. Zhu Hong grabs a frozen bottle and shakes it, making pieces of ice fall off. Zhao Yunlan drinks a little, frowning, and then pours the rest over his head. Are you crazy? What are you doing? Zhu Hong and Shen Wei exclaim together. Shen Wei wants to stop him, but he's standing too far away. Ever since Zhao Yunlan caught him staring in the middle of the night, Shen Wei has been trying to keep his distance. Lin Jing, stay behind and take care of Professor Shen and the students, Zhao Yunlan says, sullenly ignoring them. He wipes the cold water off his face, shakes out his crumpled jacket and puts it on. He stomps outside, kicking a skull so it lands 3 meters away. Everyone else, follow me! Dang, Zhao Yunlan, no respect for the dead. Lin Jing hastens to ask, what do we do with the skulls? Dig them up and smash them all! Lin Jing is taken aback. Wouldn't that offend some... I wouldn't touch them if they meant no harm. I wouldn't so much as throw a cigarette butt into their territory. Zhao Yunlan turns around in the doorway. Coldly, he adds, but since they do, I'll dig up all their graves. Last night we came here politely, and look how they welcomed us. Now it's daytime, so it's time for payback. Smash them all and I'll be responsible for anything that happens. Zhao Yunlan has the temper of a gangster. When he's mad, nobody dares to provoke him, so Lin Jing shuts up. Zhu Hong runs to catch up with him and gathers the courage to say, Wang Zheng probably has her reasons. Zhao Yunlan doesn't turn around. BS. Say something that's not BS or shut up. Zhu Hong shuts it for 2 seconds, but can't hold it any longer. Why can't you talk decently? Do you use that tone to pick up girls too, you jerk? Zhao Yunlan finally looks at her and raises his eyebrows, says something even more annoying. When did I say I was trying to pick you up? Zhu Hong really wants to slap him right across the face, but she doesn't dare, so she holds her anger and grits her teeth. Viciously, she adds, no wonder all your past relationships have ended terribly. You'll be an old bachelor for the rest of your life. Zhao Yunlan quickly leads the group to where they park the cars. He takes a few small travel bags out of the boot. The cars can't go up there, so we'll probably have to walk. The top pocket of each bag contains high-calorie rations and a small bottle of water. Take those out and carry them on your person. If we get separated or you lose the bags, you'll still have emergency supplies. And these... Zhao Yunlan takes out a big pile of supplies and hands them to Zhu Hong. Take these back to the hut for everyone. Zhu Hong is surprised and stares at him. You're making me go back? Not that again. You may look human, but you're not warm-blooded. Impatiently, Zhao Yunlan slams the boot of the car shut, locks it, and signals Chu Shizhi and Go Changcheng to come. He waves to Zhuhong. All right, woman, rush back to the hut before you're frozen into hibernation. Oh right, take this. Don't drink it cold. Heat it up a bit. He throws a small bottle at Zhuhong. She looks down and recognizes a bottle of yellow rice wine, a warming drink not found in the Northwest. Zhao Yulan must have prepared it beforehand. Needless to say who he prepared it for. Zhuhong suddenly feels a bit touched, though he has a strange way of showing that he cares. To conserve their strength, the three men don't talk as they walk. Luckily, the sky is clear. Although the wind is bitterly cold, at least the sun can lessen its harshness. Go Changcheng feels like they've crossed 3 or 4 mountains and must be way past the original destination of Clearstream Village. In the afternoon, they finally stop in a small hollow protected from the wind. Chu Shizhi opens a few packs of beef jerky, and the frozen men share it amongst themselves. Zhao Yulan sits on a rock, takes out a detailed map, and studies it carefully. Do you know where we're going? Chu Shizhi asks. Zhao Yulan makes a new mark on the map and says without looking up, the place where Wang Zheng's people used to live isn't the same as Clearstream Village. I checked her file. Chu Shizhi is surprised. He thought that Zhao Yulan was so busy pleasing his many brothers and obsessing over his crush that he didn't make time for important stuff. He can't help but want to know more. What happened to her? Wang Zheng herself is Hanga. Her name used to be Gelen. She changed her name when she joined the Guardian Order, Zhao Yulan says. The Hanga people were neither friendly nor welcoming and were very xenophobic. They wouldn't have stayed in Clearstream Village. It's too close to the main road and scenic spots. There's actually a record of them in history? Chu Shizhi is startled again. Not history. Zhao Yulan marks 3 spots on the map, in the ancient scroll of dark magic. He straightens out the old map and stops at a spot with his pen. Chu Shizhi can tell at once that's probably where the watch house was. Zhao Yulan continues. When I entered the courtyard, I thought the skulls must have been related to the legendary Lobula restriction magic. In Hanga language, Lobula means departed souls, and it's restriction not in the sense of prescription, but in the sense of imprisonment. Go Changcheng, why are you standing over there? Get over here! You've passed your trial period, so you're an official member now. Try to have a more enthusiastic work attitude, will you? Go Changcheng hurriedly stumbles forward. So this magic is used to imprison departed souls, Chu Shizhi concludes. Well, the Hanga had traditions of beheading and necromancy, Zhao Yulan says. It's probably related to their social structure. Their tribe had a system of slavery, and their people believed that their slaves were to serve them even after death. They would behead the slaves and send their skulls to the altar on the top of the mountain. Then they used magic to seal away their souls to enslave them forever. Chu Shizhi asks, why bury the skulls at the mountaintop? Does that have a special meaning? Yes, the Hanga used to live together with many other ethnic groups, and even though they didn't intermarry, they were probably influenced by their religions. Some of their beliefs originated in our religion. But of course, their core concepts were different. Unlike Buddhism, they clearly didn't believe that all things contained spirits. However, having seen the power of avalanches, they did believe in mountain spirits, and that they were powerful enough to suppress the souls of the dead. They chose to build a ritual site at the spirit portal of a mountain, which is a place near the mountaintop, but hidden from the sun. The Lobula restriction magic was influenced by the belief of reincarnation in Buddhism. It was thought that a triangle is a complete shape, which can form an enclosing wall to trap souls forever, without a chance to escape. Chu Shizhi is very smart, so he instantly follows the train of thought. This means that there must be 3 identical ritual sites at similar altitudes, forming a symmetrical triangle. It's so wonderfully efficient to talk to someone with brains. Zhao Yulan nods. The triangle he draws on the map is almost equilateral. He then draws a small circle inside it. Imprison the souls here, and they shall be enslaved for eternity. This must be where the Hanga tribe used to live. Let me see. Chu Shizhi's spatial orientation is superb. He can conceptualize a 2-dimensional map in 3 dimensions. He studies it at an angle and finally says, look, isn't this the valley that was on fire last night? Must be. Zhao Yulan puts away the map and stuffs his mouth full of beef. Eat quickly, then we'll get going again. Chu Shizhi chews the jerky slowly, pauses for a while, and glances at Go Changcheng's blank and bewildered expression. Finally, he says, Chief Zhao, you must have studied this dark magic before, not just for this trip. Zhao Yulan says lightly, if you can't tell ecstasy from heroin, how can you join the Narcotics Bureau? Chu Shizhi pauses thoughtfully and gives a rare smile. but his face is too used to frowning and the smile looks out of place. If that's the case, why doesn't our team have training sessions? Zhao Yulan stops chewing and stares at Chu Shizhi. Chu Shizhi stares back. Go Changcheng looks here and there and cannot figure out what's happening. They both scare him. He doesn't dare say anything and just keeps his head down. After some time, Zhao Yulan says, Lao Chu, you're smart. I rarely meet someone as smart as you. I won't waste time explaining. I'm sure you know why. Chu Shizhi stares at the beef jerky wrapper for a long time, as if waiting for it to sprout flowers, but he doesn't say anything more, and nobody knows what he's thinking. He's still wearing his usual expression, as if the conversation hadn't happened. 15 minutes later, they set off again. This time, Chu Shizhi is leading the way. If the morning was sunny, snow now begins to fall. The three head west and spend almost an hour walking in a semicircle down the mountain into the mid-level. Go Changcheng suddenly sees something in the snow that's rather familiar. He scurries forward and starts digging with his thick gloves on. With a shock, he finds it's a plastic arm. Zhao Yulan hears Go Changcheng scream and shout, Chief Zhao! That's Wang Zheng's arm! It's her arm! He really is a mascot. Bring him along and you'll have some strange luck. Zhao Yulan thinks, following after him. He snatches the arm and smacks Go Changcheng on the head with it. The arm has fallen off that fake and cheap doll you bought. The arm is here, but where is she? The light snowfall couldn't have covered her footsteps so quickly. Zhao Yulan looks around and suddenly up, because he's realized maybe the arm fell from above. Chu Shizhi follows his line of sight, then glances down at the map. He pats Zhao Yulan on the shoulder and points upward. Look at that. Around 3 meters above them on the slope is the entrance to a giant stone cave covered in weed and snow. The layer of snow at the entrance seems to have been walked on, which is what has drawn Chu Shizhi's attention. Okay, so to recap chapter 33, Zhao Yulan, Chu Shizhi, and Go Changcheng go on an expedition to look for Wang Zheng, and Chu Shizhi is just asking Zhao Yulan some questions. Zhao Yulan is just imparting some of his knowledge that he has discovered about, pretty much about Wang Zheng and her tribe, the tribe that she originates from, the Hanga tribe, and probably why there are so many skulls. It's because the Hanga tribe partaked in slavery and would behead their slaves and would trap them to serve them for eternity even after death. So that's probably why these skulls are so resentful. But yeah, so they're looking for Wang Zheng and they find her plastic arm, and so they believe that she might be in this area. There is a stone cave up ahead, so they're gonna go check that out. Let's continue. Chapter 34. All is quiet in the small mountain hut. Zhao Yulan's friend contacts Lin Jing, telling him that the road will probably be blocked for another 3 to 4 days. Shen Wei briefly discusses with the students and then they agree that given the aftermath of the avalanche, the survivors in Clearstream Village probably wouldn't want to entertain them. They decide to head back to Dragon City when Zhao Yulan returns. The class captain, heats up some milk for Daqing and starts preparing breakfast. The professor tells the other students to help Lin Jing clean up the courtyard. It's a simple but violent task. Under Lin Jing's direction, they dig up all the skulls that tried to bite them last night and line them up on the ground. Then, the fake monk takes a big rock and smashes all of them to pieces, as his chief instructed. They're desecrating a grave site, okay? A while later, Zhu Hong returns with a large bag, taller than a person. Superwoman puts down the bag, takes out a small bottle, heats it, and drinks the liquid down. Then she quickly takes over what Lin Jing has been doing, and smashes the skulls one by one as if she were cracking walnuts. Her success rate is a whopping 100%. It's efficient and quality work. This straightforward and brutal morning workout continues until the girl inside calls them in for breakfast. Zhu Hong must be on drugs. She pushes away a boy and Daqing, who are sitting next to Shen Wei, and squeezes herself in between them. Nonchalantly, she says, "Professor Shen, can you pass me the chocolate sauce?" She mixes sweet with savory. One cannot imagine what chocolate beef jerky would taste like. Zhu Hong eats while peeking at the calm Shen Wei. She pretends to focus on the chocolate sauce and says, without looking up, "Our chief is courting you." Shen Wei pauses and looks at her. Zhu Hong is still looking down and says, as if making small talk, "You wouldn't have been unaware, would you?" Shen Wei's expression doesn't change, and he doesn't answer either. He hands her another pack of chocolate sauce. "Want some more?" Zhu Hong stops talking and looks up. She stares at Shen Wei with a very peculiar gaze. Her round irises gradually contract into two thin slits, the eyes of a cold-blooded animal. The snake eyes look exceptionally creepy on her pretty face. But Shunwei only glances at her and returns his attention to the food he is holding as if nothing has happened. Then, do you like him? Zhuhong asks softly by his ear with a lowered voice. Shunwei returns calmly. Why do you want to know? Zhuhong rolls her eyes. I'm nosy. Every exploited and oppressed employee has the right to be nosy about their boss. Shunwei looks at her with a half smile. If you're so nosy, can't you figure it out yourself? Then he laughs lightly and picks up the pot of heated milk with a wet tissue. This food is dry. Would you like something to drink? Zhuhong's expression twists for a moment. Then she manages to smile. Sure, I'll have some, thanks. Her hand accidentally crushes a few dents into the metal shell of her thermos cup. Ooh, she got offended. Okay. Shunwei doesn't seem to notice. Pouring her some milk, he says, habitually considerate, drink it while it's warm. The dents on the cup deepen in her grasp. A hint of a smile seems to flash across Shunwei's eyes as he puts the milk back, but just as he is about to speak again, he seems to feel something and jerks his head towards the window in the valley. His expression changes. Zhuhong doesn't know whether she's oversensitive or not, but Shunwei's grim expression makes her feel very uncomfortable. Instinctively, she wants to move away from him, but she stops herself. Why would she be so afraid of a helpless university teacher? That's not logical. Sunlight hits Shunwei's glasses, reflecting in a blinding gleam. I'm full now, Zhuhong hears him say. I'll go tidy up the courtyard. Please don't run off on your own. Follow the officer's orders. With this, he walks straight out into the courtyard. Nobody is paying attention to this small interlude, and oddly, 20 minutes later when everyone has finished their breakfast and goes back into the courtyard, nobody realizes that Shunwei is missing. He's like someone who never existed. Nobody, not even Zhuhong and Lin Jing, notices there ought to be one more person. He just vanishes into thin air. 10 minutes later, the missing Shunwei appears at the spot where Wang Zheng's arm was found. He went to go check on his boyfriend. He's worried about Zhao Yulan. He's worried that he's going to be in danger. He senses something. What does he sense? He doesn't even have a jacket. The wind whips up the collar of his shirt and his hair. Drifting snow falls on his glasses. He doesn't seem to feel the cold. He stands at the bottom of the slope, looks around, and suddenly extends his arm, palm facing downward into a clawing gesture. His hand is incredibly pale, with his blue veins visible as on an immaculately crafted model. The ground shakes with his movement. The wind strengthens and whirls into a howling vortex, soaring into the clouds like a sharp blade. Then, the entire upper layer of heavy ice and snow is lifted up into the air to expose cracked frozen soil. Just then, something emerges from the ground and shoots at Shunwei's back like an arrow. He seems completely defenseless. There's a scent of decay and flowers. The next moment, Shunwei turns around at the speed of light and clutches the creature by the neck. What he's holding is a demon beast. Shunwei's eyebrows twitch, and his expression is ferocious. The demon beast makes a cackling sound, glaring at Shunwei with bloodshot eyes. Rules are rules, Shunwei says blandly. You blatantly crossed the boundary and left the profane lands without permission. The punishment is death. He lifts the demon beast up, and it struggles in midair like a dying fish. Shunwei tightens his grip. The demon beast thrashes violently, then stops moving. He throws it on the ground, and the corpse disappears as it touches the snow. A peculiar flower blossoms where it fell. Shunwei stomps on it, snapping its stem without looking. He points his finger to the ground, and a faint black line suddenly extends across the snow. It climbs up the slope into the stone cave, following a trail of barely visible footprints. Soon, a loud crack sounds, and Shunwei's eyes flash. The black line on the ground breaks into several pieces. At the same time, a sharp screech echoes from far away, and 8 demon beasts emerge from the ground. These look different from the ones Zhao Yunlan saw on the rooftop. Each of them is at least 3 meters tall, red-eyed and howling ferociously. The snowy mountains quiver. Shunwei bellows, "Puppets!" A cloud of gray smokes rises underneath his feet and swivels intimately around his legs. Shunwei points with the toe of his shoe, and the cloud flies into the stone cave. Then, a black blade appears in Shunwei's hand, 3 feet and 3 inches long. The back of the blade thick and pitch black. There's a slight glimmer at the edge of the blade. Only the souls that will be slain can see it. He moves. The beast's howling stops abruptly. In just a split second, all are beheaded at once. Their huge bodies crumble down, but more and more of them emerge, like venereal weeds. It seems like someone desperately wants to stall him. Meanwhile, Zhao Yulan and the other two have long entered the cave. At first, it seems ordinary, but as they move forward, it gets deeper and darker, and eventually pitch black. When not even the faintest rays of light remain, Zhao Yulan is forced to switch on his torch. Around 100 meters further in, a door blocks their way. By torchlight, it cannot be seen very clearly, but it seems to be made of some ancient alloy. It's rusty, and 3 skulls with large jaws, with open jaws, hang on it. One on top and one on each side. An inverted triangle is marked on it. A triangle? Is it Lubula restriction magic? Chu Shizhi moves closer and puts on gloves. He cautiously probes the door with his fingers and then knocks on it lightly as he puts his ear against it. Some parts of it are hollow. There must be some hidden switch. It's not that complicated. I'll examine it. Zhao Yulan kicks Go Chang-chung in the butt. Move in closer and learn from your Chuge. Go Chang-chung stumbles forward mindlessly. Chu Shizhi looks down on him with disdain. Arrogant and intelligent people don't suffer fools gladly. But since the chief is here, he dutifully explains his actions as he examines the door. It's nothing remarkable. A lot of mechanisms are similar to this. When you've seen a few more, you'll understand them. He says while taking out a torch. He points the torch at the door gap and it shines up and down. There's one thick column with 35 small ones, making a total of 36. Since it's divisible by 6, they're probably all hooked together. He gestures at Go Chang-chung. Get down. I'll step on your shoulders. Go Chang-chung kneels down like a big dog. Chu Shizhi doesn't give him an easy time. He steps right onto Go Chang-chung and starts knocking at the triangle. It's not easy to support the weight of a man. Although Chu Shizhi is very skinny, Go Chang-chung is very feeble. Soon he starts shaking, but since he's afraid that Chu Shizhi might fall, he grits his teeth and stays still. Just when Go Chang-chung thinks he's about to be squashed, Chu Shizhi jumps down and says, there are 36 iron columns behind this door. Because of the secret switches, there are hollow spots. The materials are different too, so density varies. If your hearing is sensitive enough, you'll be able to tell the difference with practice. Go Chang-chung kneels on the floor, eyes wide open, huffing and panting with his lips parted. He doesn't understand a word he's saying. Chu Shizhi glances at him and ignores him, saying to Zhao Yulan behind him, now that I know its general structure, I'll have to rely on experience to deduce the remaining details. Chu Shizhi triggers a switch and pulls out a piece of the center of the triangle. Go Chang-chung is so startled he falls back on his ass and scoots away. Chu Shizhi feels inside the round hole for a while, then turns back and asks, there are 36 columns around this circle, but I think only 3 can be triggered. Which 3 do you think they are, Chief Zhao? South, northwest, northeast, Zhao Yulan says without thinking. Go Chang-chung finally hears something he thinks he can talk about, and quickly asks, so are we counting upwards as north, downwards as south, left, west, and right, east? Chu Shizhi and Zhao Yulan tacitly ignore his existence. Go Chang-chung's self-esteem is crushed, and he doesn't dare say anything else. Oh, guys, he's trying. He just got promoted to regular employee. He's trying his best. But then Zhao Yulan grabs his drooping head and pulls, forcing Go Chang-chung to look up. Zhao Yulan shines the torch along the metal doorframe in a half circle. He points to the left and says, "What's that?" Go Chang-chung says stupidly, "Mountains." Zhao Yulan roughly turns Go Chang-chung's head and shines his torchlight onto a relief to the right of the door. "What about that?" "Waves? Water?" "The Hanga people lived between the rivers and the mountains, from the mid-levels down to the valley. I told you earlier, idiot. Because of the mountains, it was hard for them to tell directions. To them, upwards were the mountains, and that's the south. Downwards was the water, and that's the north. What's with the left, west, and right, east?" Zhao Yulan smacks him on the head. "Even pigs are smarter than you." As they talk, Chu Shizhi has already cracked the secret switches. The door opens slowly. A stench of humidity and decay invades their nostrils. Okay, end of chapter 34. So to recap, we go back to what everyone is doing at the cabin. Everyone is just having breakfast. Zhu Heng returns and decides to chat up Shen Wei. I think she does low-key have a bit of a crush on Chief Zhao, although she doesn't want to admit it. And so she's kind of testing the waters and asking what Shen Wei's intentions are towards her chief. And Shen Wei is being mysterious and elusive. and kind of sassy. He's also being kind of sassy back towards Zhenhun, so she gets offended. But yeah, after he senses something and then decides to disappear from the group, and he went to go check on Zhao Yulan. He's following after them, after the three of them, because he's worried that something bad might happen. And lo and behold, when he arrives and finds Wang Zheng's plastic arm, he encounters a bunch of demon beasts. So someone is trying to stall him from getting to Zhao Yulan. Then we jump back to what Zhao Yulan, Chu Shizhi, and Go Changcheng are doing. And they have found a bunch of skulls with a mechanism. And so they're trying to crack it. And Chu Shizhi, who is really smart and really handy, solves it. So in the upcoming chapters, we'll find out what that mechanism does exactly. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's read-along. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!